It's Karacell here, and we are backstage at the Dahmen Birthday Massacre Blackville Brides show. And I'm here with Andy from Blackville Brides. How's it going?
Doing well. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Dahmen's on right now, so really good band. We talked to them in Chicago, so pretty good stuff. So how's the tour going so far?
Fantastic. I mean, this is kind of a short run. We've been out, Blackville Brides has been out since October 2nd doing headlining shows, and then we did this tour, kind of jumped on last minute, and this has only been like half a month or something, but it's been fun so far. I love all the bands, so.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what's it like playing with a band like Birthday Massacre? I mean, they're like pretty much legendary in a not so legendary way.
I never knew anything about them at all. Yeah, I had never even really heard of them prior to this, but they're all really nice people, and I love listening to them play every night, and we have a blast. So yeah, my first experience with them was on this tour. So.
Really? So I mean,
I was never really into like the more sort of like, you know, I guess 90s sounding, you know, goth rock stuff. I'm into like, you know, punk rock or metal and that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, I dig them. They're really nice people, and they're fun to play with.
So I think that we were talking on the way down here, and it feels like it was like one day, you know, Blackville Brides didn't exist, and then the next day you guys are just here, and you guys are just huge. And we've seen you guys play with I Set to Kill, and the kids are just going nuts. And if you go out there right now, like literally, I don't know, maybe 1 out of every 3 kids has got like the same look as you guys. So how important is it for you guys to connect with your fans?
Well, I mean, you know, in as much as to the public, we maybe seem like we just blew up out of nowhere. I started this band when I was 14, and, you know, it was sort of an underground punk rock band that didn't really have a following until we started, you know, our message, I think, sort of resonated with people, and we grew through that. And then, you know, we put out a music video, and it became like a viral success on YouTube, and then we sort of grew from that. And, you know, Hot Topic kind of took us under their wing and got our merchandise in there, and the band sort of grew from that world. But the tour that you referenced, the I Set to Kill from First to Last tour, that was the first tour we had ever done with other bands. We had, prior to that, it had all been, you know, we used like Book Your Own Fucking Life and things like that, these like punk rock magazines where we would book our own tours, and we would tour in a Durango that sat like 4 people and play like house shows and stuff. And yeah, but that was our first, and then you know, sort of through that tour, I guess people sort of saw that we were more than just some, you know, kind of shitty scene band, and we had a real following and people that cared a lot about our music. So, you know, coming, like I said, from a punk rock community and the idea of being a part of something and having something that resonates with you in your heart, it's hugely influential on us, and it's paramount to us that we connect with the kids out there, because if it wasn't for them, this band wouldn't exist, and we certainly wouldn't have the success we have.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, someone would say that you have a unique look. Where would you guys get this idea, your inspiration for this look from?
Well, you know, I think our look it's sort of just stuff borrowed from what we were influenced by. I mean, bands like the Misfits, and obviously Motley Crue and Kiss and Lords of the New Church and the Dead Boys and the Damned and those kind of bands, those were our biggest influences. And so the way we look on stage and how we dress and, you know, our visual appearance is sort of, we just kind of borrowed from all of our favorite things. So we all love like comic books and, you know, horror movies and all that kind of stuff.
So how do you guys think that you're putting a new spin on things? Because I mean, like Motley Crue and all this stuff, that was back in the 80s. So how are you putting a new spin on things so it's fresh now for kids?
You know, I don't think it's necessarily putting a new spin on it. I think it's bringing back something that hasn't really existed for a while. We don't really claim to be like visionaries in what we do, but what I think is different than what maybe Motley Crue did is that we try to, you know, we try to make it better, more personal for the audience. You know, Motley Crue's songs weren't really about anything that, you know, kids could relate to. It's, you know, sort of about this big world with money and girls and everything, and that's not, as you know, young punk rock kids, these kids don't really know what that world is like, and that's, we come from a world where we were the outcasts and the weirdos for listening to bands like Motley Crue, and we think that what we're doing is trying to bring that sort of world back and maybe bring a real rock and roll edge or rebellion back to music, because it's severely lacking. I mean, the vast majority of bands are so safe and sort of cookie cutter, and it's all sort of that same mosh metal, you know, you do the crab walk and put your guitar over your head, and, you know, the same sort of breakdown music, and we try our best to kind of shake things up a little bit, and hopefully we do. We don't claim to be, you know, like I said, we don't claim to be some sort of great, you know, original visionary thinkers. We're just trying to be a rock and roll band, and we're glad people like it.
Good stuff. So, I mean, I know when I first seen pictures of your band, I thought you guys were going to sound one way, and then it was completely different. So, I mean, how would you describe your sound?
What's interesting is I think that because of the whole scene and emo movement of the last, like, 10 years, starting in 2005 or whatever it was, with bands like, From First to Last and these other bands, which, Matt Good is one of my best friends in the world, but I tease him because I feel like I was a kid that grew up looking this way because of, like, punk rock music and metal music, and people sort of look at what we look like and they associate it with the, like, scene core stuff that's happened over the last 10 years, and that's not at all what we are. And if people that listen to that kind of music like us, then that's fucking great, because we want everybody to listen to Black Veil Brides. We want people to feel included in our world, but our look and our sound, I think, is sort of, I feel like it's linear. I feel like when you listen to us and you consider where our influences come from, it makes sense. I think our sound is, it's rock and roll, whatever that is. We don't really believe in the whole, like, subgenre thing. We don't subscribe to the emo, screamo, metal, punk, any of these things. We're a rock and roll band, and we know what we grew up loving, and we hope that maybe kids can take away whatever they like about us and go home with it. If you come to one of our shows and you're really into, like, screamo music, and you go, wow, Black Veil Brides is a great screamo band, that's fine. Like, we don't care. We're a rock and roll band, and everything else doesn't matter.
Stuff. So I mean, I really love what you were saying before about how, like, you want kids that feel like they're a part of something. So I mean, what one thing would you want to tell your fans or anyone who just is just watching this interview about that kind of message?
Well, I mean, excuse me. I think that the number one thing that we try to do that I think a lot of bands don't is that we don't require any sort of, you don't have to sign up for anything to believe in yourself. And so many bands are like, well, believe in yourself if you believe in Jesus, or you believe in this, or the devil, or whatever sort of, like, weird additional thing comes with whatever their message is. There's always sort of a hidden agenda. And the way we feel is that it doesn't matter really what you do in your life. As long as what you're doing you believe in and you love who you are as a person, that's all that matters. And everyone should. There's absolutely no one in this world that can tell you that you shouldn't do something that you love doing. If you want to dress up like a big bird and go to school every day, and that makes you happy, we shouldn't live in a society where people tell you not to do that. But I think it's more fear than anything else. People are afraid of individuals, and they're afraid of people that care enough about themselves to do something to separate themselves from society. So our message is just don't care about what anybody else says. And if someone tries to challenge who you are, challenge them right back. Make sure that you have enough strength in yourself to know that life is not bad, life is good. You just have to make it that way.
Pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. I feel like I have a new take on life now. I feel like I was gonna kill myself, but now I'm just kidding.
That's important to note, because a lot of people that listen to rock and roll music nowadays, they feel like the whole suicidal nature, and how so many bands they market to that. They want kids to be sad, and they want kids to cut themselves, and and all this other stuff. But our message is that that isn't the way life is. There are certainly things in life. Each one of us goes through a lot of crap every day for who we are, regardless of what it is. But there's always things in yourself that you can find in your heart, or in your own strength, or in your talents, that can rise you out of that darkness. No one needs to be sitting in their room and feeling like the only way out is to cut themselves or to end their own life, because each and every one of us has something creative or loving or something cool within our heart that we can rise out of that stuff. For me, it was music and punk rock music. For someone else, it may be art, or for you, doing your interviews or something that can be the catalyst for making your life something more.
That's definitely really, really cool. I did not expect that. That's really cool. So, awesome. I think that's all the questions we have. So, I think you're about to go on right after this. But thank you so much for doing this. And we are going to go and check you out. And you can check out the whole interview and the album, which is called
We Stitch These Wounds.
Stitch These Wounds on monsterindabox.com.